In a world where demons lurk in the shadows, and the battle between good and evil is far more than just knowing some flashy sword techniques. In a world where the demons run rampant all throughout the night, and it feels as if the humans that don't know that need protection have no clue what truly is going on. In this world, there are demon slayers, a corp of some sorts, a unity, and this unity brings swordsmen from all across the world to stop the imminent threat that is coming. The imminent threat that is knocking on the door while all the children sleep at night. The last hope to stop all of this chaos, stop all of this villainy, was one Tanjiro Kamado. But how does a boy, a young boy with a sword, defeat demons that could regenerate, have infinite amounts of strength, and devour humans that have no idea of their existence? Well, he doesn't. He dies. Now, this might seem a little morbid, and it might seem a little, uncharacteristic, because this is what if Demon Slayer was realistic. Yeah, so we all know animes are for fun, for enjoyability. They're not for realism. They're not for the whole idea of something being realistic in a world. I mean, we have animes like Demon Slayer who go out and they fight demons, cut off their heads, and try to protect those humans out there. But then you have animes like Naruto who live in villages that can blow up mountains, and so on and so forth, with powerful attacks. Now, I've said before in the past that demon slayers, well, they need every advantage they possibly can get. But at the end of the day, if you made Demon Slayer realistic, let's just say it wouldn't end too well for anybody there. I mean, let's just start with Tanjiro. After Tanjiro sells some charcoal at a nearby village, he would arrive back at home. But when he would arrive back at home, he would see that his whole family was dead. Now, that's a scary thing for a child to see, almost so much that it would be mentally scarring for a child his age. But not only that, if he didn't absolutely faint, panic, or so on and so forth, just from the sole fact that he saw his brothers, sisters, and also mother dead in front of him, he would also have a hard time dealing with a demon sister that has just been turned into a demonic being that has super strength, super healing, and can really only be killed by the sun or getting her head chopped off. Now, when he runs with Nezuko down that mountain and he falls because she turned into a demon and now she's on top of him trying to kill him, well, the story would most likely end here and now. How does Tanjiro, someone that is a normal human, some normal kid, and yes, maybe he gotten strong by carrying coal or charcoal down a mountain, but not strong enough to hold back a demonic being that is absolutely tearing into him. I mean, there's no way Tanjiro for one survives or even gets out of this. And even if he gets out of this, well, it's not like he's gonna get out of it unscathed. I mean, he'll probably have multiple organs that are jacked up, maybe broken arms, maybe a broken leg. I mean, the list goes on. But let's be kind of generous, and let's say someone saves him. Giyu shows up. He would instantly kill that girl. Instantly kill Nezuko. I'm sorry, it's very unrealistic that someone that has seen his whole entire kind of, family die, being that of many people he's grown near and dear to, fallen in the feat of battle against demons. It's kind of unrealistic to think that he would kind of just, allow her to live, even though Tanjiro shows some sort of promise. Now, that's if it even gets this far. I mean, if we're talking about realism, the final selection is probably the most unrealistic thing you could possibly imagine. I mean, if you made that final selection realistic, I mean, nobody would get through it. It would have to be the most talented, most absolute, just monsters of just beings that are insanely good at swordsmanship. I mean, in my opinion, if we're talking about realism here, I mean, obviously we're talking about an anime, so I mean, how much realism is there truly? But even beyond that, if we're talking about realism, the Demon Slayer Corp would most likely just bring in people that have talent or some sort of background in swordsmanship and decide, hey, let's bring them in and let's train them, and hopefully, just hopefully, this will give them a chance to actually survive. But in all reality, that would be super optimistic. We saw in Demon Slayer, even in the canon of Demon Slayer, obviously I'm not talking about the canon right now, but we've seen in the canon of Demon Slayer that the Demon Slayers were already kind of wavering off, that these swordsmen, these future Demon Slayers, were just not that strong. And that's kind of the reality of that canon of Demon Slayer. But even with that said, Demon Slayer has this thing called breathing styles, aka concentration breathing. Now, let's be blunt. This doesn't necessarily exist in real life, and of course, I'm sure there's people commenting right now, well, of course, it's an anime, of course it doesn't exist in real life, and yeah, I hear you, but in a way, it's kind of funny to think that breathing a certain way and concentration breathing, or concentrating on your breathing, allows you to do things very, very drastically different in terms of your strength, your power, your speed, and all of the above. You would think you might as well allow them to have elemental powers, because, I mean, it would probably help them fight the demons in the first place. But we all know that in a technical sense, and based on, well, the technical animation, the fire and the water is actually just animation. And I didn't know that for a while, unfortunately, but, you know, I guess that does make it a little bit more realistic. You're not actually slinging around water or slinging around fire or sunfire, something like that. But at the end of the day, Demon Slayer, if it's realistic, or if it's realistic in its entirety, every single Demon Slayer just dies. And I hate to say it that way, because there's very few human beings, if not any human beings, in this world, in any world, that would be able to sit there, watch a parent die, or watch a parent get changed into a demon, and somehow kill that parent, stop that parent, or somehow flee from that parent. Now, same thing with Nezuko and Tanjiro. I mean, we're talking about a scenario of this little sister growing in size, getting stronger, having super strength, and somehow not killing her brother. Now, that doesn't really sound realistic to me. I think Nezuko would most likely kill Tanjiro in that scenario. And, well, let's not even get to the training portions of some of these things. Hey, I respect the grind entirely, okay? I respect it entirely. I'm not a big gym rat. I'm gonna be honest. I'm out of shape. But hey, these Demon Slayer characters, they know how to get in shape. Now, if they tried to do that, like, in the real world, they'd probably die. I mean, we've seen the training that Tanjiro goes through with Urokodaki, someone that is a trained Hashira, someone that is a demon or a past Demon Slayer, a very powerful Hashira at one point as well. And yeah, that training was so insane that Tanjiro basically almost died multiple times. And imagine if, well, this was more realistic in terms of there was no concentration breathing at all. There was no abnormal sense of smell for him to react to things that aren't or haven't happened quite yet, well, Tanjiro would be freaking 6 feet under in the dirt, and most, well, trainees would be as well. And is that an unfortunate scenario? Of course it is. It's a very unfortunate scenario, but at the end of the day, Demon Slayer is built around humans having an inherent disadvantage against demons. So you need to find some way to get your leg up. And, well, that's kind of where the anime does its own thing, right? If you actually took a bunch of swordsmen, like actual swordsmen, and you said, well, you're gonna have to fight these creatures that have regenerative powers, can only be killed by cutting off their head sometimes. They die in the sun, but they have very, very drastically different strength and also speed and also every other attribute you can possibly think of compared to you, higher than you, way higher than you. Think that you're at the bottom level and they're at the top level and you are fighting at a disadvantage 100% of the time. I mean, those swordsmen would just die. So I guess Demon Slayer can thank whatever god they have for concentration breathing, because it definitely saves them on almost every single occasion. That is for sure. I mean, let's look at all of these Demon Slayers that kind of were put into this Hashira level, right? I want to just talk about really Tengen Uzui, who is a trained fighter in the first place, basically a trained assassin. Genuinely, you would need a ton of those type of people. And ironically enough, kind of adding on to the fact of the unrealistic part of Demon Slayer, he's not even one of the stronger Hashiras. He was built up and trained to be basically an assassin, but a bunch of other Demon Slayers are far stronger than him. If that means that they're just prodigies and they're a descendant of some sort of swordsman before them, or they're just flat out better than him, strength, speed, or whatever you can think of, maybe even ruthlessness. It kind of shows you how drastically Demon Slayer leans on certain ideas. Of course, they don't give them the elemental powers, but they do give them these abnormal strength for a human being. I mean, we could even use Mitsuri for an example, a female that has insane genetics that makes her stronger than most, if not all men, which is absolutely wild. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's freaking dope. I think it's awesome. But I mean, what kind of freak anomaly does she have to be to actually be that strong? I mean, we're talking about strength that is unheard of. Strength so strong that nobody wanted to marry her because she was stronger and more manly than every single man out there. And hey, don't get it twisted with me. I mean, I love a woman that is strong, and I love a woman that could straight up pick me up and toss me halfway across a continent. But Is it a bit kind of wild to think that she is that strong in just raw strength? For sure. And like I said before, it is unrealistic and it is an anime, and there's a reason why it's unrealistic, and I will say that a million times over before this video is over. But yes, it is unrealistic, but at the same time, if Demon Slayer was realistic, like I said before, in an easy and simple sense, everyone would be dead. Trained assassin? Oh yeah, that's awesome, but guess what? You can't even take on someone that is of a lower grade demon. You'd be dead instantly. A normal kid that somehow got slung into this? Yeah, you'd be dead before it even got started. You'd probably die in training. Hashiras? Shoot, I don't even know how you would have became a Hashira without literally wounding yourself so drastically that you are practically useless on the battlefield at that point. Yeah, it would have to be full of trained warriors, trained assassins, and at the end of the day, we've seen that these trained warriors, trained assassins, still inherently have disadvantages. And in a world where it was supposed to be realistic, if you drop demons in a world that we live in right now, we would all be screwed. It'd be over. We'd all be dead. So yes, did I talk about a bunch of malarkey for 15 minutes when I could have just said, hey, we would all die and all the demon slayers would be dead and the demons would rule every single inch of the earth? 100%. But I wanted to get across all of these minute details that didn't really need to be said so I can make a 15-minute video. Okay, let me chill out. Of course I'm joking. But yes, this is my take on what if Demon Slayer was realistic. We all know, and most of you probably understood the assignment once you clicked on this video, that this was more of a gag what if than anything. We all know animes aren't realistic, and if it was realistic, well, exactly what I kind of told and exactly what I was saying would most likely happen. And it's unfortunate to think about, but why not? Let's talk in the comment section below. What do you think would have happened if Demon Slayer was realistic? What would have happened to Tanjiro? What would have happened to Nezuko? What about the Hashira? Do you believe that they would need to straight up be all trained killers to even be, or even have a chance in a world of Demon Slayer? Well, like I said, let me know in the comment section below. As always, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and make sure to leave a like, sub, and comment down below, like I said, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.